Hello, welcome to the analysis of the poem The Dying Child, written by Tanzanian poet Freeman Peter Lwamba, and the critical analyst is Regnard Bishoza, Tanzanian English and literature teacher. Let me read through the poem, thereafter shall have a critical analysis of this poem basing on guiding questions. Therefore, I warmly welcome you and request for maximum attention. The poem reads, thin and red, skin and barred, the boy groans on the ground, swollen stomach, full of waste, thin legs, thin arms, twitch, and the boy fights the flies over the empty plate. 10 years old, he looks older than 10 and younger than young, and so small as he wriggles, prisoner of his unproportioned body. Mother, shouted the boy, when I grow up, I will carry a gun and not a pen. My son, shouted the boy. My son, shouts the mother. My son, cries the mother, you will never live to carry a gun. There is no meat for us. Generally, the poem depicts the poor living condition experienced by people of the lower class, and this is highly caused by the leadership system of the upper class that actually maltreat the people of the lower class. And this poem, Freeman Peter Lwamba, depicts the life of the boy and the mother who experience absolute poverty. And it is because of the existing government that seems to be irresponsible to people of the lower class. Freeman Peter Lwamba is the former employee of Tanzania Tourist Corporation, and the motivation behind writing this poem is poverty prevailing in African countries, whereby people of the lower class suffer while people of the upper class prosper and enrich their lives by selfish tendencies, but also all kinds of egoistic nature of life. And this has resulted to the rise of protest that is waged by people of the lower class, and this has influenced and resulted to what we call warfare and political instability. Let us come to the analysis of themes or central ideas that can be obtained from this poem by Freeman Peter Lwamba. The dominant idea is poverty, or what we call poor living condition, whereby in the poem Freeman Peter Lwamba has presented to us the boy and the mother representing the majority Africans leading their lives under extreme poverty, and this creates some sorts of disappointment, but also it has created the pessimistic life, losing of hope and the future prosperous life. And the poor living condition has resulted to malnutrition due to lack of balanced diet intake. They cannot afford to eat well because they have no food in the house. And this is evident from the stanza that states, as the boy fights the flies of the empty plate. The empty plate symbolizes poverty. The next theme from which you can obtain from this poem is malnutrition. In the first stanza, the poet presents to us the physical appearance of the child by stating thin and red. The boy looks thin and red, skin and buried. One looks very thin with lack or absence of hair on his head. The boy groans on the ground. The second stanza keeps on highlighting to us some symptoms that actually gives us the picture of malnutrition. Swollen stomach, full of waste, thin legs, thin arms. All of these presents to us some symptoms of malnutrition. But the major causative of malnutrition in this particular poem is poverty. The son suffers from malnutrition. The next thing that one can obtain from this particular poem is disappointment. Disappointment where both the son and the mother are disappointed of the system that exists. Leadership is actually not fair to them, and this has resulted to absolute poverty that we find them losing hope of the future. This is what can alternatively be termed as disillusionment. The lower class is highly disillusioned by poor living condition, and this has necessitated the boy to wage the war against irresponsible leaders as the major causatives of poor living condition. Inevitably, this, although in a paradoxical way, has been presented to show how the boy, who is 10 years old, but one is courage enough to wage the war against bad leaders. Another theme that can be obtained from this poem is sacrifice that is resulted from consciousness, or what you call awareness. The boy is ready to die. One says he will never carry a pen, rather one will carry a gun. So this implies that the boy is ready to die, and his purpose is to change the system that has resulted to their absolute poverty. Another possible theme that the reader can grasp from this poem is child mortality. The mother presents to us that the child is hopeless of tomorrow because food is actually not enough in the house. But also one is expected to die because of absolute poverty. This has been caused by poor living condition that has been caused by the upper class, and this gives to us the real picture of